Disney Star Wars. We thought it was in hell already. Now we get the seventh circle. Let's talk about it right now. All right, let's talk about Star Wars. Everybody else is doing this story. I figured I'd throw my hat into the ring on this one. Let me tell you a little story first. This is going to be a little different video for me. I normally do reviews and things to that effect, and this is more of a what's going around, coming around type of thing. So let's just, ramble a little bit. You guys have heard me. If you're new to this station here, if you're new to my channel, then this will definitely be special for you. But remember to subscribe and like. Anyway, all right. I am your host. I am Frank Zank. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, comic book writer. I have been in the film and television industry as a line producer for 18 years. I recently moved from Los Angeles to Atlanta, hoping to finally get some work now that the strikes are over. But let's talk about Star Wars, because there was an 8-year-old boy in 1977 whose parents took him to see a movie. The poster looked cool. We had a guy with a sword. We had a hot girl with him. And we had this monstrous head in the background that was looming over him like a, dark cloud. And I was intrigued, but I had no idea what to expect. There wasn't the internet back then. We couldn't just see trailers. So if you didn't see any advertising, because when you're 8 years old, you're told to go to bed at 8 o'clock or whatever, be at school, be up at 6 o'clock in the morning the next morning, or even earlier than that to get on the bus. So most of the time, you didn't even see any commercials for trailers or anything like that. So a lot of times, you only saw a poster. That's it. That's all you knew about a movie, is whatever had in the poster. And I wasn't one to read the papers at 8 years old. So we went to a theater, which my father never did. The love for the movies that I have was not shared by the rest of my family. When I was 17, 18 years old, I saved enough money to buy the family a VHS player. That's how much we didn't see eye to eye. He refused to buy the family. He didn't understand it, even though he was an electrical engineer. So, 8 years old, I'm sitting in a theater, and we hear the sounds. We hear the music. We see the beginning crawl. We see this huge ship in special effects I had never dreamed of. And my imagination exploded. And that's what made me want to write and to be in film and be in comics and just create worlds that everybody else can visit and get away from the real one. That's what the movies were. That's what Star Wars symbolized. And even now, I get emotional even thinking about it, because it changed my life. It didn't talk down to us. It didn't say, oh, you're children. You're not going to understand this. I got to relay this in a different way for you. No. It treated us like adults. We saw arms getting cut off. We heard the villain say, I am your father. We saw a mentor die in front of everybody. We saw the hero win. We saw another hero emerge. And we saw a princess take control. Never happened before. We'd all seen Disney movies and Disney cartoons. But this one was strong. She was capable. She was a leader. Now we fast forward many years later, and Disney Disney buys this thing. And let me tell you something. I was not a fan of the prequels. I think that George Lucas should have been shot then. The sequels to me were a travesty. When I left, was it Revenge of the Sith or whatever, the last one, I thought it was the worst sci-fi movie I'd ever seen. It was horrible. And I know a lot of kids grew up on that, so they got to see it at a different level than I did. Okay, a lot of people love it. I don't. I don't particularly like the sequels. And I was like, oh, great. George is finally out. We're going to get some new writers in there. We're going to get Disney writers in there. That's amazing. It's going to be awesome. We have new special effects. We're going to see all these creatures. We're going to see all these different worlds. We're going to see Luke and Han. Maybe we'll start seeing some of the extended universe. We're going to see Mara Jade. We're going to see all this stuff. And then Force Awakens came out. We're like, okay, Han's dead. Luke may show up in the next movie. We don't know how much because we only see him in the last scene. And then the next movie came out. And everything that had been philosophized about how the story was going to go, no, it was worse. It was just worse. We were all shocked. Then the next movie came out. And yeah, it was slightly better, but it was bad. And then we realized that the thing that we had loved was going to be destroyed. And there was no coming back. And here we are in 2024. And the woman behind me doesn't exist anymore. Instead of making an homage to the strong leader that she was and the other characters that were created in the books, etc., no, we weren't going to have any of that. We were going to have strong female characters that didn't earn it. We were going to get a vision of things that would put us all down. That's how we are right now. We're getting preached at. We're getting told that this is no longer for you. You, the middle-aged white man that grew up with this is not for you. Go away. We have a new audience to touch now. When you see the word Star Wars, you should turn around and start walking. If you're going to complain, we don't want to hear it. You can complain, turn to the wall. Complain to that. Or else you're just going to get ridiculed. Now that George Lucas doesn't look so bad. I watched all the Clone Wars. I watched Rebels. I enjoyed them. They didn't talk down. And on top of that, they were a cartoon that were pretty adult. We got introduced to new characters. And we got seen some of the old ones, like Obi-Wan, etc. We get to see the Force is female. That's what it is. We got no problem with strong women. And I mean, Star Wars fans from every generation. We got no problem with strong female characters. We love them. But they have to earn their position. That's writing. And we saw that in the Clone Wars, and that's why we had hope. We saw that in Clone Wars. We saw that in Rebels. We had hope. And then we got Dave Filoni saying these things. I'm going to cut to it.
There's this assumption that young girls are going to like the character of Ahsoka. We relate that, right? Apples do apples. Of course, we make a young girl character, so all the young girls will like Ahsoka. It's almost to say, like, but what about the boys? You know, this absurd notion. So what we found was this amazing thing. It will shock none of you. That when you create a strong, independent, intelligent character that shows no fear, that can do amazing things, boys and girls like her. This is what we've tried to do with the Star Wars saga now. We've tried to create more female characters can represent so many things, because what we're trying to do isn't just create one type of character. We're trying to create a diverse range of characters, especially female characters that are strong, that are independent. When you look at Rey on The Force Awakens, she's a female lead in a whole new chapter of the Star Wars saga. We haven't done a movie for 10 years, and here comes a Star Wars film, and here comes Rey. And it's, what is it? Is it Panic in the Streets? Oh my gosh, a female lead in a Star Wars movie. And then the trailer for Rogue One comes out, and it's another female lead. Oh my gosh, how unfair. We've had probably like 2 million straight film cinematic roles where men have been leads, and now we've done 2 in a row that are women. Well, too bad. Oh well. Maybe there are more coming. I don't know. This is this idea that, like, and I run into this sometimes when working with writers. It's like, well, we just made one of those. Made one of what? We just made a female lead. We can make another one. Really? Yes, we can. There's more than one woman in the world. There's more than one woman here in the world.
We have him talking down to the fans, too. I'm going to do what I want. What you guys want, it's bad. You guys are just bad. It's sad. It's sad what this is turning into. And now we have Shanae, avoid Shanoy, however you say her name, Charmin, telling us that she likes to make men feel uncomfortable. Watch this interview.
I couldn't help but notice a thread through each of these, that the men were assholes. And I'm wondering, as one of them, what is the balance of activating a force for change, but also trying to permeate that patriarchy, that power structure? And is that a part of the calculation of your art as well? And what's been the reaction to that?
Oh, absolutely. I like to make men uncomfortable. I enjoy making men uncomfortable. Not you, just not you. Not you.
Point taken, point taken.
But, it is important to be able to look into the eyes of a man and say, I am here, and recognize that. And recognize that I am working to bring something that makes you uncomfortable, and it should make you uncomfortable because you need to change your attitude. And it's only when you're uncomfortable, when you're shifty, when you have to have difficult conversations, that you will perhaps look at yourself in the mirror and not like the reflection, and then say, maybe there is something wrong with the way I think, or maybe there is something wrong with the way I am addressing this issue.
If she's watching this lady, I'm an Italian New Yorker. There's nothing you can say to me that would make me feel uncomfortable. I would look at you and you would feel uncomfortable if I wanted. Because there's nothing wrong with me. So if I look in the mirror and you're telling me to change, I have nothing to change. I don't know what you're talking about. If you're trying to talk to the people from the Middle East, where you come from, is that the men you're talking about? Because the American men are not that way. There's nothing to change. We respect everything. We respect everyone. And female has always been in Star Wars. Always. We have respected every culture. Lando was a great character. Nobody said shit about his race when he came in. We all got the figure. It didn't matter that he was black. We didn't even talk about the fact that he was black back then. It didn't matter. We collected figures from all over the place when we were kids. We had every Star Wars figure that was Leia in every single costume that she was in. We had G.I. Joe figures. We had He-Man figures that were female. It didn't matter. So you're going to come preach at me that something's wrong with me? You're going to make me feel uncomfortable and laugh about it? Shame on you that you have that outlook of the world and that you have that outlook of an IP that was groundbreaking in every way. Not to mention the fact that she's completely full of herself. That we need a female perspective on Star Wars. Here's another clip.
Is an inspiration to women all over the world, including her home country of Pakistan. Filmmaker and activist Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy is the only female director to have won 2 Academy Awards by the age of 37. She's also the first woman and the first person of color to direct a Star Wars film. It's set to be released in 2026. You can say that the force is strong with this one. Here's Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy.
You know, I'm very thrilled about the project because I think what we are about to create is something very special. And we're in 2024 now, and I think it's about time that we had a woman come forward to shape the story in a galaxy far, far away.
When the Star Wars
This woman has such an ego that she should be walking the one in the mirror and changing how she looks at the world. Because she's forgetting that Kathleen Kennedy, who is a woman, although who knows, and she's been in charge of this thing for 10 years. She's driven this thing into the ground. Star Wars is already dead. You're just putting holes in a dead body. Not to mention the fact of the other directors that have come before her. We had Deborah Chow, who is Asian. She may not be a person, I don't know if you call that a person of color, but she's already been a director and she's not white. That's why she had to go into, she's the first person of color to do a Star Wars film. Because they couldn't say just Star Wars because Star Wars has already been directed by women. Bryce Dallas Howard directed episodes. Not very good ones, but she directed them. There's another female. Leslie Headland's about to direct. Everybody's scared of that one, by the way. The Acolyte is on nobody's wish list. Not to mention the fact that they're bringing back a character that was already destroyed by the writers and directors of the past. That Rey has not been handled correctly. Could you have brought in a female Jedi? Absolutely. Nobody had a problem with Force Awakens. They all had a problem with how the character was handled and how all the other characters were handled. You had a multitude of different cultures in all your cast. Finn was totally dropped of everything. He should have been a main character, and we didn't even delve into any of it. Whose fault is that? I have a Finn figure, and that was from, of course, not from the first movie, not any others, because he doesn't really exist anywhere. He went on a stupid mission in both the rest of the 2 films that didn't matter. Riding horses on a Star Destroyer. Stupid. Everything is stupid. So, anyway, I am going to hold a little seance for Star Wars because the thing is already dead in the afterlife. So that's the only way to talk to it. So, Sharmeen, you're already helming the Titanic. How does it feel to helm the Titanic, knowing that your end result is hitting an iceberg? This is going to be another Marvels. We already had the director of that thing that had never done any sci-fi, had never done an action movie. She did one movie that was low-budget horror, that was not well received, and then they gave her a $200 million movie that she just skated on by the end. That, admittedly, she says, I have no idea what was going on. And you could tell. You destroyed those characters too. And now you have a woman that literally, if you heard in the thing that she said, she is an activist. That was in the description of the woman. That is her bio. She's a two-time Academy Award-winning documentary director, activist. Fiction is not a place for activists. Keep that in your documentaries. That's where the activism is. But in fiction, in escapism, in sci-fi, no, you could put a little commentary in there, sure. You know, like stormtroopers and everything else, they were based on, you know, Nazis, of course. On the Third Reich. And, of course, how Rebel Moon just put that right in your face. And he was trying to copy stormtroopers. And look at what he did. Snyder. Oh, my God. He needs a new psychiatrist. But you could put little stuff in there like that, where we're, you know, symbolizing history in one way, shape, or form. But activism? No, you don't need to build people in the head with a message. You could have a moral where people leave the theater saying, yeah, you know, what would I have done in that situation? Would I have the fortitude? That's the kind of stuff that you want people to leave with. You want people, kids leaving, hey, I want to be that person. You're not going to get that here. No, you're going to get stuff rammed in your face like a pie trick. Just smushed all over your face with whipped cream just hanging off it. That's what we're in store for with this new Rey movie. So you have a movie based with a character that no one wants to see, directed by a woman that nobody wants to listen to, that they keep saying is a female-driven IP, when it's not. Now, I'm not saying there are no female fans of Star Wars. There are. But they like Star Wars for the same reasons that the men like Star Wars. So if you try to cater to the Barbie audience, the female fans of Star Wars are going to drop off too. And that's what happened with Marvel. Because it's a totally different type of female. One is the geekdom female, and one is the Barbie female. They're totally different mindset. They're not going to go see the action movie. They don't care about the action movie. The Barbie audience is the ones that go see the documentaries. They're the ones that see the true-to-life stories. Everything else is silly to them. They're not going to get it. And you're going to cater to an audience that does not exist, which is what you've been doing for the last 10 years. Go Disney. Let me see how many more billions of dollars you can lose. Because now it's just a joke. It's all just a joke. Marvel's a joke. Disney's a joke. Pixar's a joke. Lucasfilm is a joke. It's all a joke. The only thing we take seriously is if somebody buys the licensing. And we see a game or a book or whatever else that's not Lucasfilm. That's published by someone else. That may take the IP seriously. But it's not. It's activism. We are living in the age of activism. The good news is that I'll be 2 years older by the time this movie comes out. And by then, they won't have an audience anymore. The TV shows are dying. They put Filoni in charge when he's already destroyed a TV show. He destroyed his own characters. The guy knows how to set fire. I don't know who held him up during the Clone Wars and the Rebels years, but he had a team of writers. He wasn't writing everything himself. And that's where it was. He was just directing people that had talent. The talent's not in him. So anyway, that's my rant on whatever this Rey movie is going to be called, that everybody's going to ignore and laugh at. And when we've all predicted what these movies will make. And we're going to predict this one's going to make $200 or $300 million, and it's going to lose another $100 and something million. And Star Wars will just keep going further and further into the trash until they can't release anything anymore because everything will lose money. And then Sharmeen will be getting an award with all the others about how much money she lost with Lucasfilm. We've got a few already. Why not add one more name? Go Sharmeen. I believe in you that you are going to fail spectacularly. And then you will be the one that feels uncomfortable. Congratulations. That's all I got for today, but thank you guys so much for watching and listening to my rant about Star Wars. I'm sorry I got emotional in the beginning, but when you are dealing with your childhood, sometimes it hits you in the heart. And I apologize to the woman behind me who brought that world to life along with the rest of the cast. And we honor them. We honor them. They were visionaries. So thank you again. Make sure to like and subscribe. And remember that I have Lords of LA going to be coming up at the end of the month. And then on top of that, Mark Spears and I are working on, I just did another playthrough last night. I'll show a quick picture of the playthrough from last night. I think the guys all had fun. I had great notes come back from them. And the game's going to be awesome. So as soon as I get some artwork come up and get some more prototypes done, I'll send them out to the reviewers. And I'm hoping to launch this thing by April. See what happens. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Again, Happy New Year. And thank you for watching and helping me grow the channel. All right. Bye-bye.